Welcome back to the Make Your Statement podcast. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Aaron Woodward, the Head of Business Development for FASTSIGNS Manchester. And joining us today is Tim Dawson from Metamark. Can you tell us a little bit about Metamark and your relationship with FASTSIGNS?
Yeah, of course. Metamark are a supplier of self-adhesive vinyl, as you know. We make the products within our Lancaster plant. That's the main manufacturing plant, and then of course we have our Woking area, which is where all the orders go to. We've had quite a long relationship with FASTSIGNS as a group. We started to supply to them quite a few years ago. I'll probably say we were supplying to them when I first started back in 2006, and it's grown from there. And we supply a lot of different products to you, from self-adhesive vinyls, wallpapers, coloured vinyls, quite a wide range of items, really.
Excellent. Tim, can you tell us a little bit about your own career and how Metamark has evolved since its inception in 1992?
Of course. I started off in the sign industry very late 90s. I started off in the screen print industry, and then a screen print customer of mine put me onto a company called All Print Supplies, who you probably know of, APS. Yep. I was with them quite a long time, probably about 7 or 8 years. I then decided to leave there and made my way to Europoint, the original Europoint, not the reformed one, as it was. And then I spent a few years went back to All Print, and then the job came up here. And I was with Metamark then from 2006 all the way through some 17 and a half years. And as a company, we've seen it progress from being, I will probably say that Metamark, when we started off, we had a very small base. We had what we call sign vinyl centres, so we had a lot of people selling for us. Mm-hmm. But over the years now, we've grown to have a very large sales team, and you know we've grown that massively, really. So that's really how it's changed. It's gone from not a niche company, but certainly only supplying a certain amount of products. We're well known for MD5, MD3. We now supply a wide range of products, and as we'll probably talk later, we've gone into the paint protection film market. We're going into a lot of markets now that we never did before.
Excellent, fantastic. So what about your own job role there, Tim, then? What does that entail?
Well, I'm a regional sales manager, and I look after all the customers in the Northwest, really for the M6 corridor. So if you think sort of Warrington area, Oldham, all this kind of area up to Carlisle. Mm-hmm. I look after existing customers, and customers, bring on new customers as well. But it's about progression, really. It's building that area, and it's seen a massive growth over the years. We've got some major key accounts that we've never got before. I've not progressed in terms of a job title in any way, shape or form, but I don't feel I need to do, because mm-hmm. the job you get is very satisfying anyway.
Excellent.
And it's quite a good job in the fact you're not hamstrung to anything. You're free rein, really, to talk about ideas, to put things into practice. Mm-hmm. I've been at other companies where everything's got to be agreed all the time.
Yeah.
So it's a very sort of free moving place.
Good. So it gives you the autonomy to specify and recommend the right product for the right application for your customers. Yeah. Excellent.
Exactly.
Brilliant. Good. So obviously, Tim, over the years, there's been a lot of technological advancements in our industry. You know, if you look back over time, we used to be sort of heavily screen print based, and then the digital print side of things, the flatbed printing side of things all came along. How has technology changed the industry in your view, and what have Metamark done in the past, and what are your future plans in order to stay ahead of those trends?
I think it's changed massively. I think the biggest changes are in printers, without a doubt. I can remember going to do a sign event, looking at media, and it was a Arizona printer, first solvent printer, and they were producing, I think it was a picture of a baguette, and it was 300 DPI, and we all thought, that's fantastic, that's an amazing image. If I said to you now, 300 DPI, you go,
Is that it?
Exactly. UV printers in the early days, prints weren't that good, they weren't that vibrant. You could see if you actually put it up on a microscope how the inks were so uneven. Mm-hmm. So that's changed massively. I'm now seeing, I think on the Colorado printers, the new machine that's coming out there can print gloss and matte on the same run. I mean, that's just so. I think print technologies are changing massively, and I think you're seeing it with some of your flatbed printers, the stuff you can do, the whites, you can print the clears, the glosses, which before you could never do. And as you say, coming from an original screen print side, it's fantastic to see. For ourselves, we've had to change a lot of things. For instance, UV printers, they still want to laminate. The original laminates won't stick to most of these products. We've had to produce a range of high-tech laminates. We've also now produced a lot of ultra bond products, which are very high-tech print vinyls, because the way I see it, especially on visual communications now, is every wall wants to be printed onto. You go into a cafe, there's a print on the wall, and the thing is, you never know what that wall's painted with. You don't know what it does, and so you have to find stuff that does stick to it. So it's really now everything's a blank canvas, and it's gone now to, in the old days, if you would stick a sign somewhere, now any surface can be stuck to. We're even producing a product now which is our MDU. You can stick it to a brick wall, breeze block wall, and you can put that onto a breeze block, and it looks like it's painted on.
Yeah. So is that a heat transfer vinyl? Do you have to heat that one in?
You'd have to heat it in. You would do it in the same way that you would with a car wrapping. You give it that heat so you can get it in,
soften it.
That's
and
right.
Get it into the contours on the brick surface. Excellent. Okay.
Mainly.
Excellent. And in terms of sort of the products that you offer, what would you say your biggest sellers are now, and how that has sort of adapted over time?
MD5 is still our massive seller.
That's the principal media.
It is, yeah. It is your go-to media, your MD5. And from when I started MD5, you had solvent adhesive on it, and that was it. You've now got an air release version of that. You've got a grey-back version of it. You've got a high-tack version. You've got an air release high-tack version. You've got an ultra bond version. So we're producing a lot of different versions of our major products. So MD5 is a massive seller for us. We've done very well with the car wrapping market. Our MDX 2D wrap product is very popular.
Yeah.
And the MDC as well.
Excellent.
The wall graphics side, that's going very well. And we're just now really launching into the PPF side, and that's taking its time to do because it is already a saturated market.
And what do you mean by PPF?
Paint protection films. When you look at these really stunning cars, these £150,000 cars, a lot of them wrap them in what they call a paint protection film, and it's a high gloss film, and you apply it. It's not exactly the same way as you would wrap a car. It's done differently. It's applied with a lot of water, and you put that onto the car, and it protects that film. You can put a wire brush across it. It's a self-healing film, so the scratch goes away. And it's basically, if you're going to buy a car at 150 grand, you want to make sure it's protected. Somebody knocking the doors, or when you go too close to trees going down a lane, it does protect the car totally. So that's a new one for us.
Cool.
It's something that's been out a long time, but it's a new one for us. A big trend for us is we had the car market, but it was maybe a section of the company.
Yeah.
It's now quite a big side of it. It's the full automotive side. So protection films, wrapping films,
window tints,
the whole lot. Yeah. So that's becoming quite a big growing market for us.
Brilliant. Good. How is Metamark addressing sustainability in its manufacturing processes and product life cycle?
They've addressed it in quite a big way, to be fair. If you look at our Lancaster plant, the whole roof has now got solar panels on, so we're generating a lot of our own energy. Some of the manufacturing processes, some of the waste it's converted the energy into steam, and it's again brought back within the company. We're even now pushing, as we discussed earlier, that when we go out and see customers, we're in EV cars rather than diesels and petrol, so we're looking at that. We're doing everything we can. It's not a perfect situation. You never will be in this industry, but I think we're doing a lot to try and address that. And the big thing is that if you use the air release product, you can have a situation where you have almost like a grab bag at your building, put the waste in there. Every so often, the guy will come round. We call it a milk round, if you like, picks it up and it gets recycled. There is a cost to you, but it's not a massive cost when you look at it. And it just helps that you're doing your best, to help with the environment as a whole, really.
Fantastic. As a sales manager, Tim, what strategies do you find most effective for attracting and retaining your customers?
Relationships. That's the main thing, and the trust elements. It's quite interesting because I've had my on the odd time, my wife has heard me on the phone to a customer, and we're recommending a product, or we don't have a product that would work for them. I'm telling them, no, we haven't got one, and I'll recommend somebody else. And she's like, well, why are you recommending somebody else to that? I said, because we don't have a product that will do it. I think honesty with the customer, massively, and just, being there for them. Advice. We're not in it for the sort of quick fix. We're looking to look after a customer. I mean, we could always go into any customer and say, we can do this at this price, halve your prices, but there's going to be some issue there with service along the line. We'll offer a really good service, and I like to think with most customers, the trust element is massive. They know us, they know the products, they know the backup we've got, and that goes a long way. I think what I could say is, when I wasn't a Metamark sales rep, if I went into a customer as maybe the old print rep, no disrespect to them at all, if I saw purple boxes, Metamark boxes, I'd be thinking, because we've got a good reputation, and it's because of the support we give them.
Yeah.
It's not always, we want it to result in a sale, of course we do, but it's advice for the customer, make sure they've got the right products. And if we haven't got it, we tell them we haven't got it. We're not going to say this should work, and that's, I think, goes a long way.
Good. What advice would you give to entrepreneurs and professionals who are looking to enter the signage and visual communications industry, Tim?
I would say, again, just be honest with the customer, give them good value for money, but give them quality products, and you can't really go wrong. I think the element of people that are trying to get in it and do it all for as cheap as they can, they never last. I think give quality products. In terms of getting their name out in the market, things like social media is good for that. But asking the questions, I found when I started in this, all that time back 30 years ago, I got where I'm by asking questions. People like to talk about products, picking up in information, and that's how I would do it. FASTSIGNS
prides itself, Tim, on our fast turnaround times, our consultative selling approach, and our customer service levels. What would you say Metamark's USPs are?
I would say definitely listening to the customer. That I think there's too much of this. People, when they specify a product they want, or they're wanting it to a particular one, we will sell them that product. I think we listen to the customer. We make sure we give them the good service. We offer next day service, as you well know, and just being there, being able to give them advice, knowing about our products. That's a big one. You do see quite a few times what we can do if we have a product that goes wrong, for instance. Most customers will just replace a roll and that's it. We'll tell you what's gone wrong with it, because we can tell. Usually we keep records of everything that that we produce, and I think customers like to know if something has gone wrong. On the rare occasions it does, we can tell them why, or we can give them advice as to why. We can say, well, this has happened because. A lot of people don't do that, so I think that's a big one. And we're there. We are, not just for the orders. If there's anything goes wrong, we can sort that out, and it's the way we approach it with a customer.
Fantastic.
I find.
Brilliant. Good. Thank you for joining us today, Tim. That brings an end to our recording and our podcast today. It's been a pleasure having you. Thank you for sharing your valuable insights and experiences with myself and our listeners. For those who are interested in working with Metamark, or yourself, Tim, or anybody who might want any more information about your product offerings, how can people reach you and where can they find you?
They can reach us, obviously, sales at metamark.co.uk for all our customers. For myself, Tim Dawson at metamark.co.uk.
Thank you for listening to the Make Your Statement podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to like, follow and subscribe wherever it is that you might watch your podcasts. Stay tuned for our next episode.